In the book, you talk about coaxing greatness from others. So, especially
Mhm.
with students, there are your business leaders that want to go to the next step. What's your advice for coaxing greatness out of others, whether it be a new business leader who then needs to lead their team or future business executives or entrepreneurs?
What we do is we try to cater to ourselves. We think of the market as just lots of people just like me. It's one of the reasons why I talk about this in the book. You need to cultivate a bit of diversity around you. If you're young, find some older people. If you're living in a city, find some people who live in rural areas where they're experiencing very different things, because you are by nature egocentric and you're going to be making decisions for yourself. And so one of the things that you find is that, you've got these incubators in the form of business schools where all these students come out in their mid 20s, late 20s, creating businesses for other people who are in their mid 20s and late 20s. But it turns out that that's a time of our lives where we don't have that much disposable income. A lot of us are dealing with student debt and things like that. It's really your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s when you have more disposable income. So the first thing to do is to say, is there a world out there of people who are not like me, who are just hungry for products in a particular industry where they've been historically overlooked? One of the big things we do together is in my classes is think about that question. What's different from me and can I cater to that audience? I like that as a sort of narrow instructional example when you're thinking of strategy, to think beyond who you are. But I think it's also an incredibly valuable skill in leadership and in coaching in general, is to recognize that almost no one is exactly like you. In fact, there's probably no one who's exactly like you. And so surrounding yourself with others who are different is really valuable. There's some really interesting experiments that I talk about in the book that I came across. That imagine that you're very competent. Let's say you think of yourself as a sort of, I'm at the 90th percentile on some dimension that really matters to me. Should I have 5 other people who are also at the 90th percentile on that dimension? Or should I get 5 other mediocre people on various other dimensions who have other focuses that are central to them? And there's all this incredible evidence that it's not surrounding yourself with the best, it's surrounding yourself with the most different that leads to the best outcomes. In fact, agents of chaos, people who come in and just kind of throw everything around and say, what you've been doing is wrong. Here are some new ways to do that. Pixar talks about this. They call them the black sheep. They always bring in some black sheep into their projects. Like, we've been doing it this one way. We all think alike. We like the way we do it. And the agent comes in and says, I'm the black sheep and I think everything you're doing is wrong. And here are 15 things you should think about that are different. That is incredibly valuable. That disorganization, that throwing things upside down. And all of that comes from diversity, broadness, breadth in general. And I think as an academic, I'm very sensitive to this idea. You write a PhD, you drill down into an idea, you get narrower and narrower and narrower over time. And you start to forget that there's all this other stuff out there in the world if you're not careful. And I think that's a problem in business as well. So just avoid myopia in leadership, in business in general.